know, you made it. You made it.
Yay!
We have a few people in. You actually found it before it was officially open, so
You're not late at
you
all.
were persistent. Well, we're just commiserating.
Yes.
I know. A problem you wish you had, Kelsey. I get it. I know. But you remember full well how crazy and mind-numbing and everything it is.
I think it might be cool to do a session of just, breeders and everybody who's attempting and wants to attempt, maybe to get in there and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly.
When disaster strikes, the Zoe version.
Yes, exactly.
I get it, Kelsey. Yeah, that emotional toll. I mean, it's hard on my husband. It's not just hard on me. You know, they live with us going through all that. So I do get it.
Yeah, my
Hi,
youngest,
Christine.
Graceland is not into crabs. Like they actually kind of freak her out. They look like spiders to her, and she's afraid of spiders. So she doesn't even come in the crab room. So like I don't hardly see her because I live in here during breeding season, and she works. And so it's like we're barely roommates actually. She kind of like stands at the door. Mom, are you in there? I'm
My
going
oldest
to
daughter's like that.
I'm like, I'm in here drowning, but I'm here. Good night, love you. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
She'll pass me like toast under the door. You should eat.
That's funny. Abby's asking if you're always on the lookout for exotics, Darcy.
No, actually, no. I have not. I know, like absolutely no. So the 2 female strawberries that I have actually were donated with the help of Mary, actually, who was like, hey, I know somebody that, could really use some strawberries. And then my most recent Lila that I got, male Lila, came from Serena, who's a part of our group and been a part of CrabCon and is a dear friend of mine. And she lost her other, actually, she gave me her female that didn't make it. And then because she didn't want her male to be alone. So she was giving me the pair, actually, because she just didn't feel like they were thriving in her tank. Come to find out, her female just wasn't very healthy. And so anyway, so now I have her male. I'm definitely open to receiving more exotics if the, situation ever came about where it was a safe and good way to get them, but I'm not like seeking it really.
What species would you most like to add?
Well, everybody says I should get ruggies because they breed so like rabbits apparently. So those would be a good one, I guess. But I think I would try to get more strawberries because one of my females just doesn't seem interested in mating. Mm-hmm. And then one of my males very interested, not in the female strawberry. And so I would definitely like some more strawberries. I think I'd like another brevy just to up our chances of getting brevies. We only have 1 female and 1 male. And, the new species would be really amazing if we were able to get, any of those one day. But yeah, I mean, I think we've got Ecuadorians, Lilas, purple pinchers down. I've got a couple of violas, but they're not mating yet. So I wouldn't be opposed to adding a couple of those just to see if we can get something going there. But yeah. Kavipes are really hard.
Do what?
Kavipes are really hard. I think the shells that they want, they don't see. I think we're just missing something for them because we had a couple of Kavipes that just didn't survive. So
I think Stacy struggled with that too. Yeah.
So I would hate to get more until we figure out kind of what it was that we were missing. But so thanks for coming, you guys. Is it time? Should we get started?
Yeah. It's officially 6:01.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us at the update. So Hermit House breeding update's been a really exciting year. It's really hard to believe it's only been a year. I feel like it's been 10.
You've been through a lot.
Yeah. But a very exciting year. You know, this time last year, we were finishing up another failed attempt, several failed attempts. Those of you that follow us at Crab Central Station, we tried to log our journey with you guys on our YouTube channel. I hope that it helps to raise one awareness, you know, but also an appreciation for how difficult it is to captive breed, so that we can appreciate them as animals. It's, you know, I can't even imagine how they make it in the wild, honestly.
Not very many do.
Yeah, and then here we are just taking them off the beaches and mistreating them. It makes it even more heartbreaking to me once you know what they actually go through to make it to land. So hopefully it's helping everybody to kind of see what it's like to captive breed. Hopefully that helps to, you know, appreciate hermit crabs even more, and help us to want to leave those wild caught crabs out in the wild, and to support the captive bred industry so that we can make a difference. I mean, that's our mission.
Yeah, it doesn't do anybody or the hermit crabs any favors to make it look easy. People already think you just, you know, it's like a puppy mill. You just put them in the backyard, you know, or you just put them in a tank and they make 10,000 babies. And
Yeah.
Not everyone thinks that, but some people do. It's the comments you get, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And still, you know, on YouTube, not as much, because we've got a lot of people who have been following our journey and they have a little bit better understanding. But since we started doing the shorts and TikTok, I mean, there's really not a lot of people that really have a good understanding of hermit crabs at all. Yeah, at all. And they're not really too invested to be watching like long videos and care videos, but these little snippets of information, it has been amazing to me, the response that we've gotten like on TikTok just from a 1-minute video. Like, what? Hermit crabs don't make their own shell? Like, what?
Yeah.
They're born in the water?
Yeah, that one, 10 things that are bigger than a captive bred baby. That one, you know, like I know it, I've seen it, and I still watched it like 10 times. It was great.
Totally Faith's idea. And she had to really like beg me to do that over and over. I'm like, but the babies, that's going to stress them out. I don't want to do that. She's like, Mom, it's going to help people learn how important this is. It's going to help get the word out. It's going to pique in interest. I'm like, okay, bigger picture. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do this quick. I'm like, be ready. Have the camera, like.
Doobie 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 doo, whatever the song was. Yeah.
Yeah. It is, Brooke is in the chat, you guys, too. So she's going to help us kind of field some questions. She's not a camera person. She'd rather be behind the scenes, but she is awesome. She does a lot behind the scenes. Crab Central Station would not run without all the hard work that Brooke and Faith do. So please, I know you guys see my face a lot, but this is definitely a family affair. So, so yeah, I'm very thankful for my girls and all of their help. But yeah, so please ask questions. I know Brooke is going to post or pin at the top of the comments, you guys, the link to get approved for our adoption event. And I'll do a quick plug for that. I hope that's okay. All right, so our very first success was this past fall of 2021. School had already started and the girls were away, but one of our purple pinchers surprised us with a spawn, and I couldn't just not try. So honestly, it was the simplest try we could do because I was at work and the girls were gone. And I remember, you know, talking to Mary and I'm like, should I even try this? She said, yeah, you know, maybe the less you do, the better it'll be, kind of thing. Maybe we were overdoing it. So I was like, okay, let's just do this. And lo and behold, that's the one that made it all the way to land. So being our first successful attempt, there aren't very many. Obviously, we hope to improve on that with every attempt going forward, but we had about 35 survivors. We're going to keep a couple for the breeding program, but we are going to adopt out the others. We decided after a lot of talking to adopt them out in pairs, and that would only leave about 14 people to be able to adopt them. So we thought, what better way to do this than through an auction where we can hopefully get these guys to a wonderful home while also raising money for the breeding program. So everything that is, all the money that's raised during the events will go right back into our breeding program, which I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that we've been working on. And it is expensive to breed. So, and it's not a one-time fee, it's an ongoing cost. And so we're hoping that, we can find some supporters out there who want to help us out beyond just getting our very first captive bred babies to raise and have as their pets for their, for their lifetime, but to also just look at the bigger picture of being able to support this whole effort of pioneering captive bred hermit crabs and changing the industry. So she's going to pin that at the top if you guys are interested. We are looking to get people pre-approved. So we have wonderful people at Lycos and the adoption team that have been amazing to help us out with this and make sure these babies are going to go to good homes.
Yeah, it's not an auction for anybody. You have to be approved ahead of time and have the right conditions in your tank and everything. So yes. Maybe you said that, but I just want to make sure people really heard it.
Yes, thank you. Yep, and then once you guys get approved, we will be very shortly, actually in the next couple weeks, we'll be sending out an email that congratulates you for your approval and gives you a link to the platform where we're going to host the event, along with a video that gives you directions on how it's going to work and all of that. So that's kind of how it's going to work. It's August 6th, 2022. So a one-day silent auction fundraiser event for our purple pincher captive bred babies.
Your very first and only ever first babies.
Yes.
They're special. They're all special, but
they are. The crab cam, if you haven't already seen them, that has been on the babies for most of the day. I did move the cam at one point today onto the transition tank so you guys could see some of the next spawn coming to land. But I did move it back to the captive bred babies that are up for adoption. So, all right. So let's look at some of these questions you guys have.
You should be, Dan, but you still need to fill out that form because they're doing a special one for the Crab Central Station babies. But in general, yes, anyone who has captive bred babies has been successfully raising them straight through, breezes straight through.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, good point. Have we thought about creating a Patreon to sustain some of your expenses? Yes, we have. Actually, it is currently set up. We just haven't launched it yet. Right when we were thinking about that is when that first spawn came along. And so we kind of had, it's really hard to do anything when you're in breeding season. It really is. So we haven't launched it yet, but we do hope to do that in the near future. Special foods for their chrysal and other supplies are what kept you from doing the breeding. The cost of it all. I think building the chrysal, I don't know if you think, Mary, is not too much of the expense. The way that you build them, and which we build it the way that you build yours. I mean, it is an expense. I'm not saying it's not, but that's something that you can use over and over and over. I guess it's not a reoccurring expense, so it's kind of like the upfront cost. But
my new build that I'm working on, that's going to be about $1,000 because of all the things that I sourced. Because I'm looking for something that I'm not going to have to take apart and redo a bunch. Like I'm looking for a long-term, big, stable, steady solution. But yeah, but we all started with a 5-gallon water jug and a 20-gallon tank or a 10-gallon tank, and that's like no money. It's who would want to spend that money when we didn't know if it was going to work?
And I think anybody just starting should probably start with that, because I could talk to you all day. Mary could talk to you all day, about the roller coaster of emotions, the cost of it, the how to, but until you actually experience it, it's not going to be for everyone.
It's not for everyone. There are really smart, wonderful, dedicated people who have tried and were like, you know what? I can't do that emotional roller coaster. I just can't do it. And Darcy and I talk about the emotional roller coaster all the time. It really is. I mean, maybe that'll get better. It hasn't yet for me in 5 years. Maybe that's about me, but yeah. So there's a lot of emotional fortitude, and I just think you have to be really stubborn, right? You have to be persistent and stubborn and just willing to try something else, Yeah. But part of us doing that is locking down something that will be replicable and, doable and manageable. And every time we do it, we get a little better and we get a little more clarity and we get a little farther along. And so doing that, we're paving the way, hopefully, for other people who can just step in and say, oh, here's my roadmap. Here's what I'll do, and have success.
Yes, which would help a lot with the emotional part of it. But
it would.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I have been adding, for those who are interested in breeding, I have been slowly adding on my website a lot of Q&A, or not Q&A, FAQs about breeding. Oh my God, they're all laying on the bottom of the Chrysal. What do I do? And then here's some things to try. So as we have these things come up, we make note of them between the two of us. It's like, oh, we troubleshoot, we find a solution. We're documenting that in a place that you can look at 2 a.m. if you want to do your, whatever, to get your research. So we are making all of this publicly available. We could hold it close. We could be the only breed, like we're not going to share, but that's not what we're about.
I think that's one of the greatest parts of this, and Sue is talking about it in the chat too, like being able to say, I need help, I have questions, what can somebody else do? Is there a better way? Is there a different way? The collaboration is, to me, part of the biggest joy of this whole thing. Like I love the community that we have, and everybody's so willing to pitch in their suggestions, applaud from afar, encourage when you need it. Like, it's an amazing community to be a part of, for sure. And that it's worldwide makes it super awesome. Very, very cool.
Abby, I could figure out how many I've given, but I don't have that tally in my head. I want to say between 250 and 300 to Josh's Frogs. How many captive bred babies I've given to Josh's Frogs. I want to make it lucrative for them too. They're our partner in this, so I could sell them all and make more, because what I give to them, I only get a portion of what I get when I adopt them and charge a fee. But it's only going to work if we move into the bigger sphere of captive bred animals, and they've been wonderful and pulled us right along. So I'm trying to reward them a little bit too, so that next, when Darcy has 700, then she's got somewhere to put them to. So I think like 250 to 300 is about what I've sent to them. Might be a little more, because I also had some of my facilitators send babies too. I can get that number for you, just not right now.
Yeah, I think that was a huge relief when you were able to secure that relationship with Josh's Frogs, because of all the species we've had so far. I mean, purple pinchers spawn the largest amount, and in the fall I got 2,000 megalopa. Like that's huge. So eventually, you know, when I get better at the transition part, there'll be hopefully a lot more. And that's only possible if we have somebody else helping us to, you know, adopt them out. So
I really didn't want to breed last year because I had just moved and everything was hard and everything was difficult. And I didn't do a great job with it, but I felt the need to give us some continuity from year to year so we don't lose the momentum, so we can keep the interest going and, you know, just have this long continuous train. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. In 2019, I got more than 700 to land, and that was super exciting. And I thought I'd get that every year, but I can't even replicate my own success from that year. So, you know, it's all up and down, and we're doing, and that's why we need more breeders. So we have people that can fill in the lulls for other people. Or if I want to take a year off, please let me take a year off and give it to someone else. So this, you know, this is another thing we're trying to do, a community of breeders.
Yes.
Hermit house breeders.
Yes. Dan, I see your purple pincher has eggs right now. So that's actually something that Mary and I, we started talking about last summer, and it just didn't end up working out. Like, my Ecuadorians wouldn't participate nicely with our plan. But anyways, we do hope to try and overnight Zoe. We've already, you know, purchased all the equipment on what we think would work. And that would be huge, because then, you know, if our crabs aren't breeding or other people's crabs are breeding at a different season, and you have Zoe that are spawned, then, you know, we might have a method to be able to raise other people's Zoe, which would help. So, because the first thing is your crabs have to be mating, and you can't make them mate. So even if we had 50 breeders that were like, bring it on, but, you know, their crabs aren't mating, this could be possibly a way to get, you know, people who are willing to try and get them some Zoe. So
yeah, and most people who get them don't want to pour them down the sink. You know, they would love to have them go to someone. So we're also working out the details of that, like, you know, the legal aspects of all that, what you get if you donate, you know, lots to work out there. We don't have that in place yet, and we don't have the ability to do it, so we don't need it in place yet, but it's all part of the bigger picture.
Yes. Yeah, we have 3, I don't think you even know this, Mary, we have 3 purple pinchers with eggs right now. So
I didn't know that. Thank you for not telling me until now.
The opportunity to try this is coming very soon. Yeah, peculiar purple pie man of Porcupine Peak, he means business, and he is just lining up the ladies.
He's my Kermit. He's my Kermit.
I mean to tell you. So, yeah. So let's see. That was one thing that we worked on this past year, was how could we ship Zoe? What else have we worked on? There's been so much. Filtered Chrysal. So we had a failed attempt with the filtered Chrysal because of our mesh, and we had a mesh that was actually marketed incorrectly. So online on Amazon, they listed it as being 200 micron, but it wasn't. And so that's what was happening. Our mesh was too small. It wasn't allowing enough outflow. And so as the pump was spraying the clean water in, the Chrysal was overflowing. That's how we lost most of our strawberries last summer. It was such a heartbreak. Any of you guys that followed along. And so in the fall, I did not use a filtered Chrysal because I was at school, and again, it was a surprise spawn. And so I didn't have time to change out that the filter mesh, and work on it. So I did not have the filtered Chrysal for that, our first successful attempt. But since then, we rebuilt the single Chrysal and completely rebuilt our double Chrysal, and have the correct mesh, and can report to you guys that we have now had 2 successful spawns make it to land with the filtered Chrysal. And we have a 3rd spawn currently in the, they were in the double Chrysal, but I've moved them to the single Chrysal now. that should be megaloping this week. They look a little bit early. They're already getting big. So just hoping that I can get this other group out of the transition tank and make some changes before this next group. So yeah, the filtered Kreisel is working really well. We built our spray bars out of irrigation hose, you guys. Like it is not fancy by any means, but it's working really well. It completely disassembles so that we can clean it easily. It moves so that we can get it to where it needs to be in the tank and adjust the pressure on the spray bar as well. We haven't had any issues with overflow at all. So I'm really, really excited about that. As most of you know, we were doing at least 2 water changes a day before. That's how many you did too, Mary, without the filtered?
If it wasn't a shed day, yeah. Shed days were 3, sometimes 4, depending on how many I had in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
are you still removing sheds at all, or?
Yes. So even with the filtered Kreisel, it's 1 water change a day, even on shed days. So on shed days, I do take out more of the water in the Kreisel. On a shed day, I actually remove all of the Zoe. So I bring them to the front of the Kreisel using a light, and I feed extra Artemia to get them like really enticed. I blow them all the way to the very, very front, and I actually purposely suck all of them up into my wastewater jar. And then I just put in like top water so that it's pretty clean in that jar for them. And then I put in a bubbler to keep them moving. And then I'll clean a good part of the Kreisel on shed days and take out a good amount. And then I'll take out just part of the water on the outside of the tank. So that's shed days. On days that aren't shed days, I leave them in there. I still bring them to the front and feed them. And then I just kind of clean out the back part of the Kreisel. I clean off the mesh to keep it, nice and clean. And then I take more out of the outer chamber on non-shed days. That way I'm not having to spend hours pipetting, finding the babies in the jar because I don't catch that many. And water changes are taking us, I don't know, Brooke, like if 2 of us are doing it, 20 minutes probably.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about the targeted feeding that you started last year? Sue maybe knows about that, but I think it'd be interesting to people because that was how you succeeded with very little time, I think. Yeah.
Yes. So we did 2 different things. We're calling it direct feed and focused feed. So the focused feed is where I leave them in the Kreisel, like I was just talking about, and I just bring them to the front. And I only feed live Artemia that way. Or I'll do like a nanochloropsis with some cuddle bone shaved up, and I mix it in until it kind of dissolves. And I will bring all the Zoe to the very front of the Kreisel, and I will drop the Artemia and the nano right over the top of them.
Brilliant.
So they're not having to swim to find it, so they're saving energy, and it's literally in their face, like, eat it.
Here's your bottle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it looks like a koi pond frenzy. Like, it's so cool to watch. Now, I do literally sit there with a pipette and blow them so that they're constantly rotating and moving so that they don't eat each other. Although, honestly, there's so much food right there, I don't even think they're not eating each other. They're eating the Artemia. So yeah, that's what I do for focused feeding. For the direct feed is when I do purposely remove them from the Kreisel because it's so easy to do that. I just grab some of that top water that's mostly clean, and then I bring all the Zoe into the jar. And that is where I will take some of the powdered foods that are really high in protein, or like the spirulina and the chlorella, and those types of things that foul your water really easily. I mix that up again in nanochloropsis until it's all dissolved really, really well. And then I bring them to the front of the jar and I drop the food right over them in that wastewater jar, and they eat it like crazy. Then I draw them with the light, I draw them to the opposite side of the jar, which is more clean because any of that residue of that food will fall down right there. And then I just suck them all back up right there from that jar. And
with a siphon or a turkey baster or what?
Siphon. Yeah, with the siphon. And it takes, 45 seconds. They go super fast because I wait till they're all right there in a clump and I just Dan will appreciate this. It's a water roller coaster. They're like, woo!
It's the flume.
Yeah. And then I leave all that water in the jar. Essentially, that's like my water change almost, because I only want to suck them up because now all that powdered food is in that jar and I don't want that residue going back in my Kreisel. So that's the direct feed method.
And that's all born out of desperation, right? You just didn't have time to do anything else. You didn't have help. This is why every attempt teaches us something and sometimes makes huge strides. You just made huge strides with that. And you're doing it now all the time, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't filtered. Yes, that's our new method. So yeah, it wasn't filtered, and I was like, I'm at school, I'm working, I can't do these, 2 or 3 water changes a day. This water can't foul fast. I'm not even at home to monitor it. And so that was kind of my thought of how could I feed these guys and keep the water more clean. And so that's how that happened. And then the focus feed actually happened because I was coming home from school, on my break. And I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I needed to make sure that they ate quickly. And so I was like, I'm just going to bring them up here at this light and put it right on top of them. And it ended up working out really great. So
Brooke says, talk about your loss rate in the Zoe stage in the last batch.
The last batch, meaning the one that's just coming to land? Brooke? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, I guess this is where you drop the big news. Are we ready?
Drop it.
Okay, we're only announcing this for you guys at this session. So for the 50 of you guys here, 24 of you here, 24. So I'm ready. So we have Lilas on land. We have now 2 spawns of Lilas on land. Yes, so first exotics, here we go. What Brooke is talking about, these guys are the ones that are just coming to land. And we counted the Zoe this time from the very day one. We had our Lila in the birthing suite, which is another thing we added this last year, was the birthing suite. So when we know that our crabs are carrying eggs, we time it and pretty well know now about when to put them in this birthing suite, which is it's a 5-gallon tank that I put inside of the main tank. It has a big platform for them so that they can be up out of the water. It's made out of egg crate, and then we covered it with craft mesh. And it's got a nice bridge that comes down off of the landing. And underneath is all salt water. So if they make it into the water, great, they'll spawn their babies. But if they drop them on the platform, it's okay because it's graded. And so we just take a turkey baster, we squirt it, and the eggs fall through and they spawn. And so it's like a surefire way to make sure that we get the Zoe.
Yeah, and no gravel, nothing in there to make them dirty. That's brilliant.
Yes, very, very clean. We've covered it, backs and sides so that they have privacy, which really seems to make them feel more comfortable. And then we actually put a towel over the front of the tank as well so that they don't see us, but we can kind of peek in there and just check in on them and stuff like that. But bye, Stacy. So anyway, we counted the Lila Zoe. Oh man, Brooke, now you're going to make me think of numbers. I'm going to be about around. It's like we had 664, I want to say, something like that. 664 Zoe. So exotics, you guys, or at least Lilas, they don't spawn very many comparatively to purple pinchers. We wanted to see what our loss rate was, and so that's why we started with that. Well, we got 632 to Megalopa, and so we lost only 30, a little over 30 Zoe. But It's because Lilas are my favorite now. It's because they're only in the chrysalis 6 days, you guys. From Zoe to Megaloba, 6 days. I know. Crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, they're huge. They're like monster Zoe. Yeah, 6 days. Yep, that's been twice now, so we can confirm our first spawn they Megaloba on day 6, and so did our second spawn.
And how long did the females brood?
Well,
still about a month.
I don't have the exact date on her either time. Unfortunately, she's kind of secretive, and I've never seen them mate actually. But I think about the same. I've just been watching the eggs. When they get the right color, I put her in there. Yes, the shortened cycle is pretty amazing. But they do have a longer cycle in the transition tank. So we were so excited that we got all these Megalopa. And we put them in the transition tank, and we lost a lot of them. They're very cannibalistic. They're ruthless. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out what in the world we need to do to not have such a big loss at the transition tank stage. So I know we have sad faces, but it's okay, you guys, because even though we lost a lot of them, we've still tripled the amount we got to land from our first attempt of Lilas. So the first attempt we have 21 on land that are now a couple months old. This was back in April and May. So we've been holding this news in for a while. And they're doing great. Such sweet little babies. And then this group coming to land right now is still not finished, but we officially, well, let me get the official number. Actually, it's on a piece of paper. Give me one. Well, no, I can't. I'm all mic'd up. Okay, let me think. We had, I believe we're at 52. I believe we're at 52 currently on land, and we still have some Megalopa that haven't taken shells yet. So I'm guessing we'll have somewhere between 60 and 70. What? In that drawer. Brooke's going to get the paper so I can give you a second one. Down one. I know right now on the bridge I have 6 that are on sand. They just, I haven't moved them over yet, so I can add them. Okay, yeah. So we're so official here. Look, this is our tally paper.
That's exactly how I do it.
All right, so yeah, so this was 50. Officially 50 moved into the land tank, and I know that I have 5 more on the sand right now, and then there's still some down in the water. So hopefully we'll get between 60 and 70 to land with this attempt, which is that's a big increase in numbers for sure. So that'll be close to 100 Lilas in a year that'll be ready for adoption.
And by all accounts, they may be larger at a year than purple pinchers, right? Aren't they growing a little faster? Hard to tell because they're pretty small still, I guess. But
yeah.
But then your purple pinchers grew really fast too.
They did. Yes, they are. They are big. Thanks, guys. I know we're so excited too. So yeah, 2 spots, and then the Zoe that we have in the chrysalis right now are purple pinchers. So that'll be our first purple pincher of this season. So we haven't had any other exotics. Well, that's not true. We have had one other exotic carrying eggs this summer already, you guys.
Do you have a second mic? Drop.
We can all start crossing our fingers for this, or maybe not. I don't know. It's probably a mixed thoughts on this one. They aren't ready. Brooke says that they're not ready. So our male strawberry successfully mated with Gunther, our Ecuadorian. So we had a cross breed. Yes. But now y'all can have your sad faces. Sorry. Gunther carried them for 13 days. I saw little eyes on some of them and everything. So we were so hopeful that this was actually going to happen. But she ended up dropping them on day 13. And so either they weren't enough viable for her to continue. She's carried for us many, many times. So I don't think it's Gunther. I definitely think, this is something that's not natural, and either the mating wasn't quite successful enough, or the eggs weren't viable. We're not sure, because, who knew that could happen?
Because we're not crabs.
Yeah, but it's on video. We have the whole mating on video, and then Gunther had eggs by that evening. So it was super, super cool. Yeah, it's way super cool. And our strawberry is still trying to mate with all the Ecuadorian girls, actually. He doesn't have any
interest. He got a taste for it.
He has no interest in our strawberry girls, but he is all over the Ecuadorian girls. So, I mean, maybe they'll figure it out. I don't know. Is that meant for the ease? Oh my gosh, y'all's comments are hilarious.
I don't believe there's any scientific literature on crossbreeding, Kelsey. I told Dr. Tudge, and he was super interested. He studies the Perlatus sex tubes, as you may recall. And he hadn't heard anything about it. He didn't have any scientific, but he was super interested. So maybe you guys get a scientific paper out of it someday with Dr. Tudge.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch and witness, for sure. Super, super cool. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Who knows if there'll be more from there, but yeah, lots of mating going on. What else? We have a brand new transition tank. So we actually designed and built this transition tank that we have used. This is the first time, actually, these lilas coming to land right now are the first ones to try this out with. We are going to make some, hopefully, if we can do this before these other guys megalopa, we are going to make a few modifications. So they definitely need places to hide, because they're cannibalizing a lot quickly. And so we had to find a way where they can hide, but it doesn't mess with water flow, because they also need the water flow. It's very, very important. We had some rocks in there at the beginning of the attempt. This time we tried rock, and they did hide in the rock too well. They didn't get out of the rock. So there wasn't enough airflow. They weren't eating. I don't know if they got stuck in there. So rock didn't work. So yeah, we are going to try some aquarium decor this next time around, actually, and see if that works better. We try to get something that wasn't too much surface area to mess with the flow. Nothing that has holes that they can't get out of, kind of thing. So we're definitely going to try that. Also, it's filtered. I don't think I said that. Our transition tank is filtered.
I don't think you did either.
So we're taking the basic idea of the filtered chrysal, and we had a piece of glass cut with the hole in the middle, and we attached the mesh, and we built a spray bar just like we did for the chrysal, and we have that in the transition tank. The megalopa will grab a hold of the mesh and hang on to it. We've noticed even with the spray bar. So I know I lost a few in the beginning with that as well, because I didn't know they were doing that. And so I wasn't squirting them off, often enough. And I think with the suction, the pull of the suction, they couldn't get away on their own.
Yeah.
I don't think it sucks them to it. I actually think they go there, little stinkers.
Something to hold on to with their new claws.
Yeah. So I just go in there, whenever I'm checking on there, I just blow on the mesh and they come floating off. So that's worked fine. But yeah, the filtered part is working. We had a little bit of trouble with it in the first couple of days. I think we just didn't have the submersible sponge filter we were using hadn't been cycled. And so we just switched it out with one from our big build and one of our saltwater, actually the captive bred tank. We just took their sponge filter and put it in there, and it, fixed the problem immediately.
Nice.
And so I'm doing one water change in the transition tank a day.
Are you doing targeted feeding in there too?
I have done that a couple of times, but with the lilas, they don't seem to like the fresh food as much, really. They actually seem to prefer the pellets. And with the transition, with the filter transition tank, I can leave the pellets in there longer.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I leave them long anyway, but yeah, that's good.
Yep. So that has worked out really, really well. So the things that we need to change is find something for more hiding. Our ramp is working really well, actually, but we do have them coming up the ramp early. So I'm really torn on the whole ramp thing, to be honest with you. I don't know if I take it. I think what I would like to do is take it out. Right now we siliconed it in. I think I want to take the ramp out, which gives a lot more space for the megalopa. And I want to use the movable ramp and just place it in there when it's time. So they spend a good week in there before they're even ready to take shells. And so I don't even need to have a ramp in there. And that way it gives them a lot more room. And then once I start to see them taking shells, I'll place the ramp for that way, they can come up on their own. But also in our transition tank, I have a small section it's just 3 inches wide and it's sand. It's really, really damp, like what you would see right at the edge of the ocean. And as soon as I see them walking around in shells well, like they're able to hold that shell and really walk holding it well, I can place them right there on that sand and they do fine. So I've had maybe 3 leave a shell once I placed them up there, and they just walk down the ramp back into the water.
Sue's asking what day they start to take shells, the lilas.
I had a few early takers, I want to say on day 7 or 8. A lot of them start taking shells on day 10.
But then they stay in the water, in the shell for a really long time? Interesting.
Yes. So by day 10, they're in shells, but they're not walking around in them very well. And if I go to try to move them with a tweezer or something, they just come right out. So it's really not until day 12 or 14 that they start really walking around in them really, really well. Yeah, and their bodies look very different. Brooke is just saying, they molt and change a lot as megalopa than lilas do.
That's so fascinating. That's so interesting. I think if I had to choose, perfect world, I'd rather have them spend less time in the chrysal and more time in the transition. Wouldn't you?
Well, now that I only have
You're in the throes of it.
Yeah. Now that I only have to do 1 water change on the transition tank, that would be okay. But before this, I was doing 6 a day.
Oh my goodness.
6 water changes, and because there were too many megalopa. With the purple pinchers, I had 2,000 megalopa in that in the tub.
Yeah, I've had 4,000, and they're eating each other. They just don't have the room,
Yeah, and it was just, I couldn't keep up with the water quality. Even with the 600 here, it's hard to look in there and see them dying so fast. You're like, what's going on? And that doesn't happen in the chrysal. So at that part, I feel more confident at. I guess when I get a little bit better at the transition part, maybe so. Yeah, that's a lot going on. So let's see, the last part of the transition tank, you guys, is so there's the really, really wet part of the sand right off of the ramp. And I've had a lot of them actually take the entire ramp all by themselves and make it all the way to land. Those are the ones that bring tears to my eyes, because I'm like, you did it. Like, I didn't even have to help you, right? So I've had a lot of them do that this time, which has been really fun to watch. After they're walking around on that sandy area really well, and you can see you can kind of, when they first get to land, it's kind of like they're frozen for a while.
What do I do?
Yeah. What is this? How do I breathe? How do I move? And so once they kind of get out of that frozen stage and they're walking around, then I move them into a separate 5-gallon tank, which is in the transition tank. We have a separate compartment for it, but we built it to where I could pull a 5-gallon tank in and out. And so that way, for each spawn, as they make their way to land, they go into that 5-gallon tank, which I'm calling their toddler tank, and they spend the first 3 months there. And then I can do a final count who's survived multiple molts and that sort of thing. I'll move them to the 10-gallon tank, and they'll stay there until they're ready to be adopted out. So.
Kelsey asked if we would consider larger transition tanks. We both are. Darcy's, what is yours, 4 gallons or something? It's big. And I've got something in the works too that I just couldn't do it last year. I knew I needed a bigger one. I was just barely hanging on last year. So this year will be better.
Yeah, if I take that ramp out, we'll have a lot more room, because the ramp, in order to have it at the right angle where it's not too steep for them, it took up a lot of space. So we have a 40-gallon breeder is what we built our transition tank in. And so it has the 4 different compartments. It has the filtered compartment, then it has the water part of the transition tank, then the ramp goes up to that little first sand area, and then the last part is the removable land tank. Ship the Lilas to Canada. There you go, Kelsey. Looks like you got a 40-gallon breeder transition tank. Yeah, it seems like always making some changes and trying something different all the time. So just always evolving.
That's how we do it.
Yes.
I want you to keep going. I'm gonna just go off camera because I've had my fill of staring at my face today. But I will still be in the chat and asking any questions for as long as you need me.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, any other questions you guys have? I've kind of given you an update of kind of everything that we've done and where we're at. So anything that you guys have questions about, I'm happy to answer them. Yay, yes, adopt the babies. How do I handle all the cuteness? See one of the transition tank or the Chrysals, or I can give you guys like a tour of the room if you want. Okay, let's see. What did we feed the Lila Megas? So we are feeding them shrimp pellets, and we have veggie pellets. Also, we found this like high protein, different types of meat pellets that have been really, really great this time around. They don't disintegrate as quickly, and they seem to love them. Okay, all right, let me see what I can do here. I have to take the computer with me, so this might be a little bit shaky, but I'll do my best, guys. I think we're back. All right. Okay, so this is our double Chrysal, which I actually had to just rebuild this summer because we had, and this is good for you to know, Jeff, if you're still here. We had live rock last year. I don't know if you guys remember. We put a live rock to help with the cycling, and we ended up growing like tons of really pretty coral. It was super fun, but it broke our chrysal. So it basically grew all over these jugs and all over the filtered mesh, and I could not get it off. I couldn't clean it. And so, yeah, no live rock in the chrysal. But the thing is, if your crabs spawn in this water, you're going to get some of that water in your chrysal. And so I removed my live rock from my saltwater pool because I didn't want to have to rebuild my chrysal again. So anyways, so yeah, this is the double chrysal. In the middle here, you guys, is the chamber with the filter and pump. And so you can see we've got the double spray bars, one going to each side. And we also add a submersible sponge filter to help with filtration. And you can also see that we have the air stones in here. That just helps with the circulation, but also during feedings, if I have to turn off the filter because it will just suck all the food out. But I still want some kind of motion going on. And so we leave the bubblers in there for that. Also, if for some reason we have a problem with the filter, like we have in the past, we already have the air stones there to use in the case that we need to do that. All right, and then this is our single chrysal right here, which has Zoe, as you can see. Lots of Zoe. This one is also filtered. You can see the submersible filters in here right now. I went ahead and just put both of them. That one is from the double chrysal, but I'm running both of them just to keep them cycled. Yep, purple pincher babies, lots of them. This is day 17 for these guys. Right here, we have our 2 jars of Artemia that we are hatching. And so we switch off day to day. Every other day, we switch the jar so that there's always small, fresh Artemia to be able to feed them. This has been huge. We feed a lot of Artemia. The tank behind that, you guys, the 10-gallon tank is our holding water. And so that is just salt water that we use for water changes. So it's at the correct temperature and the correct salinity so that we don't shock the Zoe or the Megalopus when we do water changes. I mean, this is just all of the food and gear and shells and hydroner and all the stuff that you need for breeding. I'm going to take you guys to what we're calling the crab nursery that we built this summer. So this is a closet. You guys can see all the breeding stuff right here. So in the closet is the new transition tank I was just talking to you all about. So it is filtered. You can see the filter there on the left part of your screen. This is weird because it's all backwards. It's a mirror image. Anyways, and then you can see the shells in the bottom. Yeah, my electric bill, thank you. I love your comments. Y'all are cracking me up. So this is the new transition tank. It's a 40-gallon breeder that I was just talking to you guys about. We do have air stones in there for circulation. We also have a spray bar moving the water. And you can see the ramp, which we siliconed and covered in sand. It's been great. The crabs love the ramp. It's really easy for them to grip on. And it doesn't seem too steep. And then you can see the sandy area where the beach area that I was talking to you guys about. And then that last compartment is the 5-gallon removable tank I was telling you, which I'm calling their toddler tank. And so that is what these breeding shelves are for on the side of the tank. You can see we have lots of shelves with lots of tanks. So each shelf holds a 10-gallon and a 5-gallon, and that is so the toddler tank can be right next to the eventual baby tank for the year before they get adopted out. So our first lilas are right here. These guys are a couple months old. You can see some under the bridge. So we had these 21 of these guys this first time around. They've already taken, they're growing, I don't know, I think they're on their third shell size. These guys are so fun. I don't know if you can see the guy next to the bridge. He's almost the same color as that terracotta bridge. So baby lilas are bright red. I know. So cool. You can see them kind of walking around on the sand because of they're so red. And then in another month or two, they'll go over here into this 10-gallon. I'll get it all set up for them. And then these are the babies just coming to land, literally in the last couple of days. More lilas. So right now we have 50 lilas in here. A lot of them are already going down to molt. You guys can start to see some of their tunnels right there. You'll notice I don't have a whole lot in this tank. That's on purpose because lilas tend to like to molt without their shell on. Who knew? Well, we know now. And so I have to be able to see in there to help these babies. Yeah, it's I'm constantly looking in here for them to come up from their molts without their shells. But anyways, the other guys did the same thing. And so I think it's just a lila thing, but it kind of scares me. These guys you can see in the transition tank, these guys right here just came to land. Oh, look, there's more. I thought there were only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see 9. 9 up here. 10. There's another one. That little white one right there. Okay, so that brings our count up to 60 lilas. And I'm sure we still have some megas down here. Let me see if you can see under. Yep, still a few megas down there. I need to go swish the shells around. Oh, there's a couple on the bridge coming up. Anyways, and then these are our purple pincher babies, which you guys have been looking at the crab cam today. So you've already seen them. This is the other side of the closet. We have more shelves. So you guys can see that we can, there's the birthing suite. I can show you guys that. So we were talking about the birthing suite earlier. Sorry. This is a 5-gallon tank. You can see we just made that platform like I was telling you about. We put this in the main build and we set the mama crab in there. And if she drops her eggs, we just swish them through the grate down here to this clean water. Super easy. So that's what we're calling the birthing suite. And I can give you guys a tour of the tanks just while we're at it if you have more questions. There's the Ecuadorian the strawberry was trying to mate with this morning. Probably still traumatized. Orange blossom, sorry. Sorry, it's tight quarters in here, so I'm trying to. We're hoping our brevies will mate this year. There's a male lila. There's a rare sighting of our viola. So she tends to stay up in the topper. So interestingly enough, I saw our male and female viola, sorry, I think I said lilac, viola, together several days in a row. And now she's been down here on the bottom. So I'm really curious to see if she's carrying eggs. Up here, this is the purple pincher's favorite spot. There's the E and the strawberry up there too, actually. Look, hi Mom, Mother Mary, there's your 2018 baby. Look how beautiful she is. Isn't she sweet? She's so pretty. She is loving this big tank. And here is Peculiar Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak. He is getting all the purple pincher ladies. And this, let's see, we've got another E. My E's are getting big. This little purple pincher is turning eggs right back there. She is little mama. So there we go. There's the room tour. The setup is literally in the middle of our room. So you can see it is pretty tight quarters. All right. Any other questions? You're welcome. Yeah. Hopefully we will fill up all of those shelves. So I have enough for, let's see, I've got 5, so I can do 10 species a summer in their own tank. So hopefully we get 10 spawns this summer. We're already on number 3, and I know that I have 3 carrying eggs right now. So bye, Christine. Yes, Sue. They're taking shells in the water. Yep, I'm not having to shell any of the lilas. So the glass part of the transition tank is something else that we have to work on. Anybody, feel free to go, you guys, because I could talk crabs all night long. But so our last transition tank was a Tupperware tub, and so there's a lot more traction on the bottom. This being glass, we noticed right away at the beginning, and I think that was part of the reason a lot of our megas ended up cannibalizing, is because they didn't have enough traction to get away from each other, and the water was just blowing them into each other and that sort of thing. So we're going to add some actual, I'm going to use bathtub grip strips and line the bottom of the glass part of the transition tank. I think it'll be easy enough to clean with the siphon, but add enough traction for them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try. Thanks, Moa. I'm jealous of your room, Moa. I wish I lived closer. It'd be so cool. The baby purple pinchers, I haven't measured their shells recently, but I want to say they're in like a 0.3 millimeter to 0.4. There's a couple that are bigger. I mean, they're all growing at different rates. There's a few that are in the little tiny little orange periwinkles still. So it really just depends. You're going to want to arrange if you're looking at adopting them. But I think like a 0.4 is the biggest that any of them are in. I have 2 in the white nutmeg shells, which are kind of bigger. So I do have 2 in those. Yes, Savannah, so we did consider that because that's what we did on the bridge, which has been great. The crabs really have a good traction on the bridge. The reason that I'm a little bit cautious to add it to the bottom, the water part of the transition tank, is mostly because that's where a lot of the food gathers down there, and I need to be able to clean it really well. And I do clean the bridge also, but as I clean the bridge, the sand slowly comes off. And so I clean the bottom part of the tank every day. I do the bridge like every other day. I kind of just blow the debris off of the bridge onto the glass, and then I clean it up. And so that's kind of my fear of putting, sand on the bottom. Bye, Mary. Thank you so much. You're the best. Does my husband get jealous? I don't know about jealous. He's a good sport, let me tell you. I could not do this if I did not have a supportive husband or family, for sure. He's very patient. He's very supportive, for sure. Like he definitely lets me do my thing. He helped in the fall when I was at work. I needed him to come and do a feeding 1 time a day. So yeah, he came and fed them for me every day. I mean, really, Kim, all of the other exotic species are pretty much similar as far as their care. They need deeper substrate, the higher humidity, the higher heat. Strawberries and Ecuadorians definitely need a lot more enrichment. They're very active all day long, Ecuadorians especially. And I think if they get bored, they kind of start to get kind of bullyish. So they need a lot of interaction, high protein diets for sure. The lilas actually are out a lot, you guys. I love our lilas. They are out all day. They're not really shy. They're up and at the glass and stuff like that. They do, I think, though, really need species buddies. Like they are always together. So my strawberries aren't really. It's so weird. Like they're just kind of doing their own thing, and if they happen to meet each other, then they're fine. But same thing with the violas and the brevis. But purple pinchers and lilas really seem to need their species buddies. The lilas will not be at the silent auction. They're not old enough. So that will be next summer. I don't own any ruggies. Sorry, I don't have ruggies. The straws are pretty laid back, unless you have our male, who apparently is confused about who he is. Yeah, I have heard ruggies definitely produce a lot of eggs. Awesome. Yeah, maybe at CrabCon Live next year would be a good time to bring them so they don't have to be shipped in the mail, Stacy. I don't know. That's true. Our strawberry breeding male is down molting. That's going to be the tough part for us next year at CrabCon, because this is our breeding season and this is CrabCon. So we're already kind of thinking, how are we going to make this work for next year? Where are you guys finding these ruggies? Dan, I think that's what's going on. I think we have an alpha male who's down molting, and the other male has given up on his species because he can't with the other guy. But I'm like, but that one's down molting, so you would think that he would go ahead and mate, because both of the other females are up. But very, very strange. That's true. We have had Zoe at the start of every CrabCon. Yeah, on camera mating, that's right. Yeah, so we'll have to figure out how to be in person next year, because I really want to be in person. Interesting, all these ruggies. Yeah. Our alpha male did that last summer. He did literally like remove the other male strawberry last summer. So maybe that's what's happening. I don't know, but he's mated with one Ecuadorian, tried with another one, and we've also seen him try to mate with the lilas. So yes, same male. Stacy. Yep. He's and he has tried to mate with Gunther again, also, and with 2 other Ecuadorians. So we have 4 female Ecuadorians up right now, and has tried to mate with 3 of the 4, and yeah, one of our female Lilas. I know, right? So yeah, my biggest thing is how to get more successful at the transition tank part of it, because we're getting a lot of megalopa, 600, 2,000. I didn't count we did count the total Our first attempt with Lila, we had over 400 megalopa. And so we need to figure out how to be more successful at that stage. Yeah, Abby, we had lots of questions the day that happened. I mean, to tell you, we were making all kinds of hypotheses. This time around, yes. Well, Sue was less than 10% last time because we only got 21 to land, but this time it's looking like about 10%. But it should be more, right? I'm hoping for more. I don't remember if Tammy's talk said how many Zoe she had. I want to say Mary's is higher. I definitely think we're higher than the wilds. I really, really do, because, well, for one, these Lilas that are molting without shells on, in the wild, nobody's going to pick up their little naked butts and put them back in a shell. But I am. Yeah, so on the first attempt that happened at night, I got up at like 1 o'clock to check on them, and all these little naked babies were walking around, and I pulled an all-nighter putting them back in shells, literally putting them back in shells. Today, I've already had several do that during the day. So, but now, I mean, with 50 of them in there, it's going to be really difficult to keep track of who dropped the shell and who's already molted. And that Mary and I were talking about this before you guys got here, right when we signed on. I think I'm just going to have to let them be crabs. I'm going to sprinkle shells all over the tank, and as they come back from their molt, they'll just have to find a new shell. I mean, it's happening with a lot of them, and it's happened with both spawns. So I think this is just kind of what Lilas do. Well, that's good. That makes me feel better, Sue. They do molt in their shell when they get older. Actually, these are both Lilas right here. And they are both in their shells. So yes, they do stay in their shells. And I haven't had that with the first spawn. Once they got through that very first molt, I haven't had that problem since. So it just seems like the very first one. Yeah, the numbers are so different. Yes, let them be crabs. I know, she's telling me that all the time. Yeah, they definitely become bird food on the beach. Yeah, I am going to sprinkle shells in there tonight, and I may not sleep, but I am going to just hope that they get in shells and be crabs and do their thing. I had a talking to them and literally told them, look, I said, look, I'm doing my part. You guys do your part. What are we making available in the store? Jeff, I had it on the transition tank today for a little bit, but you want me to put it on the transition tank all day tomorrow? Yeah, they did get a lecturing. Then I blew him a kiss and told him I love him and it's going to be okay. Abby, I'm going to try bathtub traction strips. The adhesive, you know, you can get them like rubber ducky or little frogs or flowers, and they actually make them like wave strips. I'm going to try that. Well, we tripled our success in our new transition tank. So I definitely think that we're on the right path. I don't think we have found the best solution yet. We're going to make some modifications and hopefully have a better result with our purple pinchers. Yes. Do the rubber duckies. I know. If they only made crab ones, that would be perfect. Yeah, the filter transition tank was huge for me, you guys. I was ready to give up, honestly, because 6 water changes a day, it just wasn't working. And I was getting, you know, only a few to land, and it was heartbreaking. We talk about this all. It's a true roller coaster of emotions. Even today, okay, I'm excited that I have, you know, 60 on land, but when I look in the tank, I see a lot of shells that are empty and no babies walking around. So I know that they're molting, but are they going to survive that molt? Are they going to come back and get in shells? How many will I have that actually make it? It's like, it's a lot. So. Mike, I think I definitely see that in purple pinchers. And I think that's why they spawn so many, because we lose a lot of them. I mean, we had the double chrysal maxed out. So thousands, guys, like 20, 30,000. I don't know. We didn't count them. There was too many, but so many, right? And now we're on day 17 and I'm down to a single chrysal. And I think I probably have maybe 5,000 to 6,000. And I haven't changed anything. So I definitely think for some species that is the case, and they won't all survive no matter how good we get or how great the tanks are. But for these exotic species that don't spawn as many, only spend 6 days in the chrysal and 10 to 14-ish days in the transition tank, I think we should have a better success rate in captivity where there's no predators and we can control the environment. I think. Yes, there are so many moving parts. So yeah, so many things. Lack of shells in the wild for sure. Yeah, we have so many shells available and they're still picky. "300 years later, we're breeding." Awesome. Yeah, Sue, I really think that's a big problem, which is that's the other change we're making to the transition tank. I think they need more open space and more volume of water. I mean, it doesn't seem like volume would make a difference, but I really think it does, because in those early days, they swim a lot. They do the zoomy zooms and they suspend. It's not until closer to that day 8 to 10 when they start looking for shells that they spend more time on the floor. So I'm looking for things that they can hide in that is suspending in the water. I'm looking for a higher water volume. I'm looking, for more physical space for them to get away from each other. And so I'm going to remove the bridge that I just showed you guys, that beautiful glass ramp. We're going to remove that, because then they'll have that whole entire space that first week, which is when we lose most of them. And we're going to put in some hiding things in there. Betta fish hides, I've thought about that. We have some plants in there and some live seaweed that kind of floats around, which they've really been loving. They hide in it and they eat it, so that's been really good. And then I'm going to the glass ramp that we have in there, I'm just going to take it back to the glass cutter and see if they will cut it, like a third into thirds. And I'm going to silicone like a part over on this side of the ramp like this, so that it can attach to that sand area and it's removable. That way, in that first week, when they don't even need a bridge, they have all the open space. I can see them easily. I can clean the tank easily. Then on day, 8, I'll put that bridge into the water so that they can see that they have the resource to be able to climb out and start to practice carrying their shells. That's my thought for this next time around. If I do rocks, I'm going to have to do something other than what I tried this last time, Sue, because we used rocks at the beginning of this current attempt, and it stopped the water flow too much. They didn't get enough water flow in the rocks, and they got stuck in the rocks. It was the weirdest thing. However, I do put rocks in the filter chamber. Thank you, Sue. That was your suggestion, so that worked out great. Yes, we do have some of those squirrely clay things in there. Yes, Stacy, thank you. It does. It costs a lot. Salt. Guys, 5-gallon buckets of salt. I'm gonna have to order another one, and I already ordered one this breeding season. Like, the salt is crazy. Nanochloropsis. I mean, we go through almost a bottle depends on the species, not so much with lilas because it's just a week, but with purple pinchers, I mean, it takes a bottle of Nanochloropsis like for every spawn. So yeah, I do. I need a lot of salt. I've never put one together, Jeff, but that is a great idea. Yes, Stacy. Brooke, take note. We need a TikTok on how much it costs. Yeah, Sue, I've thought about that, but then I'm like, oh my goodness, if I have to keep track of one more thing, I don't know if I could do it. Awesome. Jeff, that's a great idea. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we need to do that for sure, especially with all these spawns coming. A salt truck delivery, just back it up. My neighbors truly must think I am crazy. I'm carrying out 5-gallon buckets of water like every day. Yeah. They all know. They've come. It's like a zoo over here. They come to see the exhibit. Yeah. Abby, we're working on that. We actually have it set up. It was one of our goals for this summer. It's set up. We just have to launch it, and we've been so busy. This is our third spawn already this season, so just trying to figure out the best way to do that, how to do that. It's really difficult to ask people for help with money. Like it's so, even doing this adoption event, like it's not, and we don't do this for money. Like this is just something we're very passionate about. But these babies do need homes. I can't keep them all. And if we are going to make a difference, we do have to keep breeding, and there has to be more, and they have to be adopted out. So anyways, it has to be done. But yeah, even with Patreon, like it's so hard to pull that trigger and be like, please help us monetarily. But I know, Stacy, thank you. Y'all are so sweet. You're very encouraging. The lilas will be snatched up quick. I hope so. Well, that's one reason that we have not announced it, honestly, is because we're afraid nobody will adopt our purple pinchers if they know we have lilas on land. So that's one reason that we haven't made it like official. And I was talking with Mary before this started, and I was like, just for you guys that are coming here for this update, I felt like that could be a little special Easter egg kind of thing to share with you guys. But yeah, that is true, Stacy. He'll gladly take them all. I am glad to hear that. Good. I'm so glad that people are loving purple pinchers because we're going to be having them. I mean, our crabs are definitely carrying them. So, and they are lovely. The daddy of these purple pinchers that we have now, I mean, he is so gorgeous. I can't wait to see these babies. I have no idea the mom and dad of the ones from my first success because, like I said, it was just a surprise. But the babies already have a lot of color. They have purple pinchers. They're super cute. The lilas will go for adoption next summer, CrabCon 2023, guys. I could bring them in person to CrabCon 2023. I know the fathers and mothers of our purple pinchers this season. I know the mother of the lilas, and I know the father of the first batch that we got to land of lilas. I'm not 100% on the father of the second batch because I now have 2 males and I didn't see the mating of that one. There you go. Got it. Lilas are in person only. You got to come to CrabCon. Yeah. Peculiar Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak is the dad of the next 3 spawns of purple pinchers. He is like a magnificent, just Stacy, you'll love it. Like he's every color purple you can. It's so pretty. He almost looks iridescent. He's gorgeous. That's discrimination against purple pinchers. Yeah, I'll post a picture in the group tonight of him. That's true. The first purple pinchers had to be picked up in person. It's on trend. I love it. Oh, Abby, that would be so cool. Do you know if it's a girl or a boy? Then if we had babies, you could have some of their babies. Wouldn't that be awesome? Do you guys have any other questions about breeding or things that we've tried? What's working, what's not working? Just in general? I have 2 brevies. I have a female and a male brevy, and they have mated in the past. Actually, we had 2 years where they mated, but they didn't mate last summer, and they haven't mated this summer yet. But I have seen them both together a couple times, so maybe this year we'll get some brevies. Our brevies are not aggressive at all. I mean, gentle giants for sure. Stacey, you don't have a female? Oh my gosh, really? That would be amazing. That would be so amazing. And I know Mary is working up with how it would work if we got babies to land, how that would work since you would donate the male. So that would be pretty awesome. That would be way cool. Oh. Yeah, we should chat about that and see. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Stacey, you said, how can you as a community help us? Like, honestly, you guys are so helpful. Just, you're so encouraging. I know that, I mean, like you guys are our family and friends, and we go to you guys when in the ups and the downs, and you're equally encouraging both when we have failed and when we've been successful. So that is super important. Just know that we have your support. So thank you guys so much for that. these are great suggestions. I mean, as the program grows and the cost grows, finances is a concern. So Patreon's a good idea. It's great to see that you guys would be receptive to that. Just adopting the babies. That's, to know that if we bring them to land, they have a home to go to is huge as well. And the Amazon, that's a great suggestion, to put together an Amazon wish list and share that would be so helpful, just with the reoccurring cost of the supplies to raise them. So those are all great suggestions, but thank you for asking. You're so sweet. Okay, I got behind here. Let's see. Number 2. Do you think the straw will produce with the females that he made with? I mean, they successfully had fertilized eggs the first time. Because she carried them for 13 days. I have a video, of them. They were very dark orange in the beginning, and they were getting lighter as the days went on. And the day she dropped them, actually, I was able to get a video, and you can clearly see eyes. So will they ever be successful in that? She'll carry them. Will they be viable is what we call it. I don't know. Nobody knows, because really it's never been thought that this was even possible. So there are so many unknowns. We're just here to learn and see what happens. I do not believe it is known that they crossbreed in the wild. Not those 2 species for sure. We do on our website. Actually, we do have a link, a PayPal link on our website where it's always there, crabcentralstation.com, where you guys can support us through just a PayPal donation. Good idea. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing that up. Yeah. It was so funny when we made that announcement, because we were so shocked, and everybody's take on it was a little bit different. Some people were like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And some people were like, oh dear, what have we gotten ourselves into? Me, I'm just here for the ride. I'm not actually that big. I'm not a big science person. So I was sitting on the couch talking to the girls, and we were just coming up with all of these theories and hypotheses. And I'm just honest here, my girls knew more about the biology behind it than I did, and they were teaching me. And so I was like, wow, this something Patrick speciation, or allopatric speciation, I think is what we were talking about. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up. Allopatric speciation. I had to learn about that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. How do I spell that? I didn't even know what it was. Brooke, if you're still on here, help us out. Allopatric speciation. Something about how they would never, geographically, they would never see each other in the wild, so they wouldn't be able to mate. Hey, there we go. Jeff is on it. I do not remember learning that in school, but apparently my kids did. But I got some smart kids. So, when we're in here brainstorming ideas, I'm telling you, the girls are right here thinking about it. Brooke and I sat down at the table and designed that transition tank together, just sketching it out on paper, trying to think of things. Again, it's not perfect. I mean, we got to make some changes, but we had to start somewhere. Thanks for hanging out, Moa. Good night. Abby, I wish, but no, I don't even know where she dropped them. I think she may have even eaten them, actually. I never did see them. It's like she had them, and then Actually, what happened is I saw the eyes, and I thought, oh goodness, like who knows how long that they'll carry them, because it's a hybrid. So I couldn't go off of any kind of days that I had in the past. But I knew that the color had gotten much lighter, and I could see eyes. And so I got the birthing suite ready for her, put it in the tank, and was getting ready to put her in there, just in case she was going to spawn them. And when I picked her up to put her in there, I checked. I just shined my flashlight down in her shell just to kind of get a good look, and she didn't have them anymore. So it was not even that much time between when I got the video to when she, I think, ate them. Sue, for the Megalopa to hide in, is that what you're thinking? Or are you thinking about using that as the removable ramp? Okay, yeah. That's a good idea. Then I don't have to create the glass thing or have it cut and all of that. And then if it doesn't work, I could always reattach this ramp. So that's actually a really good idea. Right. Yeah, yes. I like this. Yeah. Because if it doesn't work out, then I have this ramp, because this was expensive to cut that ramp. Something about 45-degree angles on glass apparently is expensive. I don't know. Also, cutting a hole in the middle of a piece of glass is expensive. Yes, I've been talking with Savannah. She's so super sweet. She's going to help us get some pools and stuff like that for the babies' tanks. Yeah, who knew? My local glass cutters know me by name. Right? That's so crazy. Yeah, I know. Risky's like, just have them make a tank. I'm like, are you kidding me? We had 4 pieces of glass cut for the transition tank. It was almost $300. And 2 of the pieces are so small. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I know, Stacy. That's what I said when they gave me them bid. I'm like, I'm a good customer. Don't you have, like, we're saving hermit crabs' lives here. There's got to be a discount for that. They said no. They said, you want us to cut a hole in glass? You're going to have to pay for that. A sponsorship. That's just what they wanted, the doors and glass, the window and door guy. But we support Crab Central Station. Abby, that is the goal of Hermit House breeding, yes. So as each breeder becomes successful and comfortable in the process, that they will then take on somebody else to mentor, because Mary cannot, bless her heart, I don't know how she even puts up with me, cannot, take on everybody. It's a lot of time. Well, I mean, she gives me a lot of time. She's like, seriously, we could not do this without her. So yes, now that we are officially successful and have several successful attempts and kind of getting more knowledgeable and kind of being able to repeat processes and things like that, we will definitely be taking on somebody to mentor. Yeah. Kelsey, I know, right? She is seriously amazing. I haven't thought about reaching out to colleges. I know, Sue. Sue knows too. I am needy. I'm sorry. I'm not a sciencey person. I'm just a mom and a teacher trying to make history here, people. I don't know. I'm glad you're laughing and loving me still. Oh, there's a large team of people that take care of me. Yes. Well, here's the thing, Stacy. So if our idea of shipping Zoe works, absolutely, I would love to send Dr. Tudge, some Zoe for the kids to raise. Especially if our purple pinchers are going to continue to breed like they are this summer, for sure. I think so I don't have it with me. So yeah, we basically have, this is our idea, guys. I'll just throw it out here since y'all are still here. 24 of you are still here with me. This is crazy. So this is how we're planning on trying to ship Zoe. Obviously, I'll have my female in the birthing suite, so we'll have our timing already mapped out. So we purchased basically plastic mason jars that screw on. I added plumber's tape around the edge of the top so that it gets a good seal. And I drilled a hole in the top of the plastic lid. And then I fed in airline tubing with an air stone, and I siliconed that in so that there would be no leaking. And then put a tiny little release pressure hole, like tiny little one. And then you can actually buy like emergency water pumps that run off of batteries. And so that's what I bought, was one of those. And then we have tons of packing materials. And if it's in the summer, we can put some ice packs in there and then ship them overnight. So they'll constantly be in those jars with agitation from the air stones, and we'll overnight them. And so that's what we're hoping. What do you guys think? That's the strawberry boy that doesn't know he's a strawberry, but definitely knows he's a boy. Yeah. Yes, exactly. He's like, Dan, so we actually have talked to UPS on both sides, on my side and Mary's side. And so we've kind of worked that out. And so hopefully, yeah, just like when we ship the babies, I mean, we have the stickers. I already bought the stickers, live animals, like we have the packing tape, everything. It is ready to go. Literally, we're just waiting for the right time on both of our sides, like where I have the female that actually drops. The idea was to send her the Ecuadorians last summer because I hadn't been successful yet, and our Ecuadorians continued to carry eggs. And I was like, Mary, somebody should try, obviously we can't get them to land at the time, and so somebody should try. So that's when we started this, was to send my Ecuadorian spawn to her, which I'll still be happy to do I don't have any male Ecuadorians up right now. I just have this turkey right here that wants to mate with them. Anyway, so with the purple pinchers, we might just try it this summer and see how it goes. Meet him with some coffee. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could bribe them in some way or another. I'm telling you, I mean, Ecuadorians are so difficult. Even though we've had some success, I'm not convinced I could get Ecuadorians to land. Like, they're so difficult. Good night, Amanda. Thanks for joining us. Wrong. See, Stacy, that's where the birthing suite would work. These are drama queens for sure. Yeah. Need some help. And that has worked for us. It's been so much easier. Although we still get some surprise spawns in the saltwater. So yeah, that's our idea. I don't know if what do you guys think about that for mailing? Does that seem like viable, legit, worth a try? Any suggestions? Cool. I mean, if it works, we literally could buy several of these and just ship them around to people who know that their crabs have eggs, and then they could send them. Yeah, we can only try for sure. Yep. It would be luxury. Yes. We bought little things where they would sit, you know, sit upright and all that. It was, yes, I bought heat packs in case it's during the winter. So I have the packing pillows that I would tape around the jar. And then we have a lot of packing peanuts. There does need to be some air exchange for the pump and the air stone, but we're going to poke a couple holes in the outside of the box, and that's why the packing peanuts and that sort of thing. So yes, we can track them also. Yeah, the battery power though, it says it should be enough. So, and I know like a little bit of downtime would probably be okay. You would lose some, but you probably wouldn't lose the whole batch of them. Because I know like in my saltwater pool, I don't have a lot of bubblers in there. I just have one bubble bar that's really covered by rocks and stuff in a lot of places. And they do pretty well in here for a good while. We haven't done the trial run yet. Yes, we would put our live Artemia in there for them. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. They won't foul up the water, but it'll give them something to eat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kim, I mean, that would be kind of just, that would be the trial part of it to see. But I feel like when you have live animals and you pay for that shipping and you make arrangements ahead of time, it seems to go better anyways. There's always can be something that happens, but could you imagine being the UPS guy that's like carrying the package with that pump motor running in it? I'd be like, what is this? Never mind. I don't know. I'd probably be like, I'm sorry, I cannot deliver this package. It's buzzing. All right, guys, there's 21 of you still in here. Any more questions? It is noisy. Yeah, we tried it. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for all your support in so many ways. Thank you guys so much. You're welcome. We're super happy to share with you guys. This is fun. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for staying so long. Thanks for all your good questions. And thank you for supporting the breeding program, because what we're doing here would mean nothing without you guys. So like, thank you so much. We're all in this together. I think there's a song about that. You guys have a great night, and I will see you guys at CrabCon for day 2. See you guys. Take care.